Okay, so another Frieren Friday. I just finished episode 9, and I really get the idea. I fucking loved it because the action. This was primarily an action episode with some little nuggets of lore and character in there as well. Wouldn't be Frieren without that. But holy shit, the action looked so good. Generally speaking, I tend to not care for slower paced action scenes. Like I remember watching Castlevania, I believe it was season 2, and I think it's specifically the bloody tears scene where like they're fighting this whole slew of vampires doing all kinds of cool shit. And the fight was really slow. I get the idea. It's like, you're slowing it down so, you can really focus on the choreography and really appreciate the movement and it looks really fluid. Like it looks very good, but I'm watching like a vampire hunter, a mage, and a vampire fighting a bunch of vampires doing crazy shit. And everything feels way too slow. It's cool, but I feel like I'm losing a lot of the impact and just like the franticness of the situation. And I love Bloody Tears. Of like, this is like, even the rendition, it was like so slow. Like one of the things I love about Bloody Tears is its tempo. Like it's very fast paced. It's very energetic. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be incredible. And then it's just like, no, it didn't work. I say that because the fights in this, they also kind of had that where it was like the movement was a bit slower to really emphasize again the choreography and like some of the movements specifically of the physical fighters. But unlike with Castlevania, where I'm like, this is way too slow and I'm not getting into it, here I was like, this just looks so fucking cool. It looks so fucking slick. Wonderful. Sorry, my cat is like literally right here. I'm actually surprised his head isn't on the screen. He just wants to be included in the video, even though he's not in this one. But he was in... Pretty sure he was in both the Sea Cats video, and I think he was in the Crow video for a lot of it. So, like, that's okay. Hey, bud. So, actually getting into, like, some of the stuff in the episode, Frieren confronts Aura the Guillotine and her army of living suits of armor. So, the way that her power works is she has this item called the Scales of Obedience, where essentially she puts her soul on one end, her opponent's soul on the other end, and the scales will balance out, and whoever has the most mana wins and essentially has full control over the other person like a Geass. If that person has a strong enough willpower, they can resist the influence a little bit. So she can do this to get essentially unlimited puppets, but if a puppet resists too much, then it's like, well, you're more trouble than you're worth. Kill the person, and now, like, cool, now they have no will. Now I can just, like, possess their soul forever. As they say, it's like, they are bound to her even after death, which is why they're just suits of armor, because the person is long gone. They also explain that, yeah, this is incredibly powerful, but there is a very clear weakness. If she's just using it against regular-ass people, she's gonna win every time. Because as a demon, she just has more mana than the average person. However, if she uses this against someone with a fuck ton of mana, like another demon or an elf, might not work in her favor. And I'm like, oh, that... I do like... Because I like shit like that, where it's like, there is a really big risk if things go wrong. But that's what makes it so powerful. It's one of the reasons I love Hunter x Hunter so much. It's like, yeah, like, I have all this restrictions on my ability, where I can only use it against, like, certain people, or if I do this kind of thing with it, these are all the downsides that can happen, like, this is how it'll fuck me up after. But because it's so risky or so limited, it's insanely powerful. Like, I really like that shit. They're fighting for a bit. It's less that they're fighting and more that Frieren is just kind of bobbing and weaving and flying and shit, just dodging the suits of armor. And then at one point, she casts Dispel Magic, and a bunch of them kind of fall down, and Aura's like, I'm very confused by this. the last like the last time we were fighting, you just went Danny DeVito on me. You just started blasting. You just like fucked up my entire arm and I had to run. Why aren't you doing that now? Like that dispel magic, like that's pretty hefty on your MP. Like, why? It's less efficient. Which Frieren says, like, I mean, yeah, that's what I did last time, but Himmel got mad at me for doing it, so I can't do it again. Yeah, but Himmel's dead. Like, who gives a shit? The fact that you don't give a shit at all makes me happy, because it means I don't have to feel bad about what I'm about to do to you. I get to show you no mercy. And then we actually don't get back to them. Despite the episode being called Aura the Guillotine, Aura doesn't really do much in the episode. One thing I did kind of dig, though, is you don't actually know what Himmel said when he scolded her. You don't get the dialogue, you just know that he did. But I feel like I know enough about this character and his relationship with Frieren to pretty much know exactly what he said. Like, hey, I understand what you were trying to do. Like, you want to be as efficient as possible. You want to just win the fight. But these are still people. Like, even though the body is gone and the will is gone, like, this still is that person. You can't just blast them like that. Like, that is disrespectful. Like, you are desecrating their bodies. You're desecrating their memories. Don't do shit like that anymore. And, yeah, like, I like that Frieren at this point is like, yeah, I can't do that. It may have been a very short journey, but it did leave an impact on me. So I have to be a better person, but I'm still killing demons. Like I was able to convince him that demons are on site. So that was that part of the story. Then we pretty much just focus on Stark and Fern. So they help the Graph out and are like, okay, we gotta go out. We gotta go deal with some shit. So Stark's like, all right, Fern, you help the people evacuate. You get everyone out of the city. I'm gonna go take care of business. And, like, he's putting on his coat. He's getting his weapon. It's like, he's basically making the speech of, like, I'm going to go fight them. I'm going to go hold them off as long as I can. And she's like, man, like, you can tell, like, because even though Fern is always, like, very stone-faced, she takes after her master very well. She's like, you know what? I'm kind of impressed, Stark. Like, I think this is really stupid of you. Like, I don't think you could take them on, both of them on at once. But I respect you for doing this. I appreciate this. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go find Frieren. I don't know where she is, and I'm going to get on my hands and knees and beg her to come back because we can't do this shit on by ourselves. And again, Fern's face doesn't change at all, but you can just feel the, Stark, that was really cool, and I respect you too. Why did I put any faith in you? Why, for a second, did I think you would rise above your station? Okay. Fine. So they go leave the church and start talking about what they're going to do. And then Fern just kind of realizes, I have the demon's blood on my cloak and it's on Stark's bandages. And there's mana in here. Oh shit. And then she gets attacked. So she gets stabbed, not quite through the heart, but like she gets like impaled. It's not even really impaled, but she gets pinned to a wall with like a blood, not even like a whip. It's like a blood, not even really kind of a blade. It's like a really jaggedy point. I don't know. I want to say like a fucked up looking blood pipe cleaner. It just kind of pins her into the wall. What are the demons' names? I didn't write them down. I think it's Lugner and Line is the one that ends up fighting Stark. So you don't see as much of the Line Stark fight. It's just like they kind of start fighting and he's like, holy shit, you move a lot like my master. And then we're with the other two for quite a bit, where Lugner's like, all right, well, your reaction time is better than expected because I was trying to kill you instantly. But I mean, since we're here, I'm going to ask you some questions. I don't remember exactly what he asked. One of them was, where's Frieren? I don't remember the first thing he asked, but the second thing was like, hey, where's Frieren? Where's your boss? She said she left the town. It kind of sounded like she had some shit to do. And then he turns around, is kind of thinking about it. He's like, where the fuck would she be? What is she gonna do? Oh shit, she's probably trying to kill my boss. I need to clean up so I can do this. And he's like talking to himself. He's not quite monologuing, but he is doing a bit of a villain, like, talking for a bit, not caring about the hero. And then Fern's just, and then at one point she's like, you talk too much. Like, again, stone face, but you can just feel the, shut the fuck up. But then sees her stick, grabs her stick, gets down, has him at magic point, and is like, okay, you're a real arrogant piece of shit, and I don't like you. But I can respect, at least to a degree, your sense of fair play. I caught you by surprise, so you weren't trying to kill me. Like, you wanted to catch me by surprise, too, essentially to restore your honor. But then you still gave me a chance right now to kind of get back and we can fight on equal footing. Because, and it's like, it's fair play, but it's mostly arrogance. Because the fact that a human caught you by surprise and nearly killed you pisses you off. You won't feel satisfied just killing me while I wasn't expecting it. You want to give me that chance so you can squash me like a bug. But guess what, motherfucker? Like, I can blast you into oblivion. I'm not scared of you. So they have a bit of like a Mexican standoff where it's like, oh, like, you think you're fast enough to get me? Like, I've been practicing magic my whole life, kiddo. You're not going to be able to do shit. And she's like, what do you know? I've been practicing my magic my whole life too, so you ain't doing shit to me either. And then it's either during the fight or right then, I don't remember when, you get a little flashback of her and Frieren, and she's like, Frieren, am I useful? Yeah. You're incredibly useful. Like, what makes you think the opposite? I mean, like, I'm not as knowledgeable as you, and I'm not as strong as you, and, like, I just don't know if I'm really helping. And Frieren's response is like, all right, kiddo, here's the thing. You don't have as much magic as me. Like, you don't have as much mana. Your technique will also never be better than mine. I mean, I'm like 1,000 years old. You're like, how old is Fern? Like, 12? 16? I don't actually know. But she's like, look, kiddo, you're never going to catch up to me in either of those regards. There's literally no use comparing. But the reason I always have you fight monsters is not just me saying, like, it's grunt work, it's below me, although I'd rather not do it. You're just faster. You can cast spells way faster than I can, so it just makes you really efficient. And hey, that's something you can do. So throughout the fight, when she's fighting Lugner, she is just outpacing him. And he even says, he's like, I have more mana than her. My technique is better than her. My control is better than her. But she's faster than me. How the fuck is she reacting so quickly? And again, just stone-faced Fern just blasting him constantly. And it's really awesome. There's a scene where he just has this, essentially like this blood wall. And then she'll like blast part of it away, and then more comes up, and blast part of it away, and more comes up. Weirdly enough, it reminded me of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, where there's this one battle between Yang Wenli and Reinhardt, where I believe it was Reinhardt's strategy was, I'm going to make like a never-ending wall, where I've got like this wall of ships, and essentially I'm just going to keep having like the back row will go to the front, and then the back row will go up to the front, and the back row will go up to the front. So I just constantly have people, so they're going to think I have basically like infinite reinforcements, essentially. I don't, but I can make it look like I do. And it's like, I can win the battle this way. And it's like that. I wasn't expecting anything of Legend of the Galactic Heroes while watching this, but that was an unexpected surprise. Yeah, that's what a fucking surprise is. It was a pleasant surprise. But as the fight is going on, he's like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to beat her in a battle of attrition because I know I have more MP than her. So I can just outlast her. And he's doing that, and it's still getting blasted away. He's like, I can't fucking do this because she casts so damn quickly. It doesn't matter again that I have more MP. I can't keep up with her. This is bullshit. Line, help me. And then Line over there is like, all right, fine. I mean, I'm done with my fight anyways. And then you see Stark just fucking laying against a tree. Fucked up. Was it a tree? It might have been a rock. But he's been getting his ass kicked, apparently. Then he gets up, and then you actually get to see Line fight. And it looks so good. So essentially what she can do is like, yeah, I can, like, look at somebody, study their mana, and figure out how they move. I've seen Aizen fight before, so I know his movements. I've memorized them, and seeing a little bit of you, I know how you move, so I know how to counter it. That's fucking cool. But as she's fighting, she just goes like, whoop, makes an axe, starts spinning around, doing shit with the axe, and then goes, whoop, turns it into a sword, slicing with the sword, turns it into an axe, turns it into a lance, does a fucking plunging attack, then makes a knife, throws the knife. This is so sick! She's gonna get fucking killed. And I don't want to see it happen, because I want to see more of this specifically. And I mean, yeah, she has the same, fighting style as Stark, so theoretically, the movements would be the same. But it's the constant weapon switching was so fucking cool. And again, it's it was so seamless. It was I know we've just spent, this entire arc saying, demons are a problem. They cannot be trusted. They are irredeemable. They are on sight. So they're gonna get killed, but I'm man, this would have been a really cool party member, just purely from an ability standpoint. There's a point where, Stark gets fucked up. She, cuts his eye with an axe. You're that's fucking gnarly. But he gets knocked down, and he gets back up again. You're never gonna keep him down, but he has a flashback to his master, essentially telling him, Stark, your job as a warrior is to always get up. He basically gives him a Jeff Probst speech about yo, you gotta dig deep. But it's you have to dig deep. You cannot fall. The way you beat someone who is stronger than you is by attrition. You keep getting up, you take their hits, and you keep delivering hits back. And he's fuck damn it, I guess I have to. Then he kind of talks some shit too. He's you have my master's movements, but you don't have his strength. You don't hit very hard at all. Why the fuck am I scared of you? So he goes for this bit. Oh, also, by the way, as this is happening, the mages are fighting, and there's this part where there's when their spells hit each other, there's this fucking fireworks, and then the mana fireworks start hitting the ground around the two warriors, and I'm that is gorgeous. That is absolute peak Kino shit. I feel like I'm in fucking Disneyland seeing this shit happen. But he goes this big overhead swing, and she's he has no defense. I'm gonna kill him. Bang! Gets him right in the gut, right in the side. And he's yeah, you have no power. That didn't hurt. Bam! And then fucking murks her. So she dies. Wagner gets distracted for a second, and then bam, gets killed by Fern. And I think that was the end of the episode. That was the end of the episode. It was really good. Like I said, I feel that's basically all I said for about 20 minutes was this was really pretty. It was very smooth. It wasn't a super high octane fight. I feel the second part of it was a bit more high octane than the magic duel, but it was so well animated. It was I was saying, with Castlevania, it felt like a moment that should have been, really fast-paced and frantic in the fighting. And that fight wasn't, and it bothered me. This didn't feel like it needed to be. So I felt this kind of slower pace and the more emphasis on just the movement and choreography worked really, really well. I loved this episode, which again, I feel like I've said after fucking every episode so far. It's great. Can't wait for next week to watch the next one. Oh, shit. Sorry, I was just trying to show off my cat, but he wasn't in the frame there. It didn't work, my bad.